Hello, welcome back. Thank you for joining us here today. We're going to ask a very important question today, which stems directly from the text of A Course in Miracles, chapter 22, section 6, paragraph 1, sentence 1, actually. And the question is, do you want freedom of the body or of the mind? Pick one. Do you want freedom of the body or of the mind? You cannot have both. Pick one. Got it? Okay. Let's go through what happens when we make this decision, the one you just made. By the way, we make this decision every moment of every day. You may be wondering, especially if you're newer or brand new, perhaps, to this material, what this has to do with spirituality at all. Everything, actually. Do you want freedom of the body or of the mind? You cannot have both. All right. Having made the choice of freedom of the body or freedom of the mind, one, the choice we made, becomes the end, the goal, the other, the means that serve that end. That's what happens when we choose one or the other. And by the way, the option of having both is not possible. We try to do that in the world. This takes many forms. We try to forgive and love on 99% of people in the world and save our own personal little hatred and disdain for that select few, which is not true forgiveness because it's incomplete. Can't have both. It's one or the other, and this is an adult decision that we all should recognize that we make every moment of every day. You just made it. You're making it again. And so am I. We're all making this choice. When A Course in Miracles refers to the choice that we have to make in the present moment, this is one way of characterizing that in words. Do you want freedom of the body or of the mind? The one that you choose is the end, the goal. The other that you did not choose becomes the means, the method to serve the end. That's inevitable. Not a single one of us can avoid that. Again, chapter 22, section 6, paragraph 1 of the text. The pixelated image on your screen that you see is not making this up. It's direct from the Course itself. And, well, it's true. This is the choice that we make. When we choose freedom of the body, here's what happens. Having chosen freedom of the body, having selected that option, the mind serves that end, or it tries to. Here's the deal. Freedom of the body doesn't mean anything at all. We may wish to believe that it does during a hot, sexy, romantic candlelight dinner and weekend, engaged in all sorts of really, really fabulously wonderful and blissful activity, it doesn't last. Soon the body is exhausted. And let's just take a look at what's really going on here. Freedom of the body actually doesn't mean anything. The body itself is completely finite. It goes away. We all know this. We attempt to live our lives as though that's not the case and deny it as long as we can. Yet, even if you find yourself in the picture of health, as far as the physical body goes, even if you are muscle bound and in great shape, and you have no diseases or any injuries or anything like that, this is a temporary condition because this thing does not last. By definition, it has a very limited shelf life, perhaps more limited than we imagine. We don't know that. Perhaps longer than we imagine, but it's not eternal. Happily, it isn't you. We run around saying that it's me. This is me. Yeah. This thing, it's 80% water. It's me. Yeah, the Son of God. Gotta be. Hmm. You know that's not who and what you are. Now, if you're exposing yourself or you're being drawn by the Holy Spirit, who else, to these ideas for the first time, they may come as quite a shock. Yes, let's acknowledge that. However it lands for you, consider that you're watching this for a reason. There is no coincidence, as you well know. And we like to say, okay, yeah, I just happened upon this by chance. What chance? It's the direction of the Holy Spirit. I mean, what else would have you pick this video out of all of the other videos available on YouTube alone, not to mention other platforms on the internet? I mean, really, when you think about it, that's a big number. That's a lot of content. It's a lot of stuff floating around, and here you are for a very good reason. There's a message from the Holy Spirit for you. Now, the Holy Spirit is not something outside you, it's part of you. It's part of our mind, and we're invited to turn to this part of our mind for guidance. The more we do, well, the more we see. And not with these devices. The, the Holy Spirit will guide you if you allow it to. So when we choose freedom of the body, we circle around on a veritable hamster wheel of frustration. We're not getting anywhere because the satisfaction that we have with supposed freedom of the body is temporary at best, and then we're sick, or the romantic weekend ends and you're exhausted. Everything with the body ends, especially the body itself. It's highly impermanent. So you do not have to choose to see it as you. Now, we've all been conditioned to see it as us, and here in the world, well, we've got needs that we have to meet, like feeding ourselves, drinking water, going off to work, things like that. The point of all of this course is to change our mind. Your life here in the world can look much the same as it has always looked. I mean, if you've got to go up and go to work today, get up, go to work, do that. Yeah, feed yourself. If you like to keep the physical body in good physical condition through exercise and a healthy diet and things like that, keep doing that. By all means, keep doing that. This course is not about effecting change on the level of form, the world that appears to be out there. It's not about getting a hotter bod. It's about changing our mind. That's where the action is. That's what this course is directed at. We have this choice, a choice in the mind between freedom of the body or freedom of the mind. One becomes the end, the other the means to serve that end. So, because freedom of the body actually means nothing, we're expending our mind on nothing and running around in a circular pattern which exhausts us all and has us all on the spiritual path in the first place, just knowing that there's more to it than just getting up, eating, breathing, drinking some water, and going to the bathroom and earning some money, bolstering our bank account or barely bolstering our bank account, getting up the next day, doing it all over again. Hmm. Of course, there's more to it than that. Now, let's talk about what happens when you choose freedom of the mind instead of freedom of the body. Remember, one becomes the end, the other the means to serve it. The body can be used to serve the end of freedom of the mind, healing the mind. The body can be used as a tool to heal the mind. That is exactly what you're looking at right now. A physical body being used as a tool to heal the mind, to share the Holy Spirit with you. And this is just one of many, many, many examples. In fact, there's nothing special about this example at all in any way. What you're looking at, this pixelated image on your screen, is an assemblage of dots. I mean, really, that's what we're watching. It's constellated and formed into the shape of a middle-aged man with black and white hair. I mean, how common can you get, right? Nothing special there. That's all. It's a form that we can recognize, and the form of these sounds that appear to be coming out of the pixelated image's mouth are constellated in this pattern that we refer to as a language, which happens to be one that's very widely spoken here on this wobbling, spinning ball of rock. Again, no accident at all. None. When we choose freedom of the mind, the body serves that end. You can use the body as a communication device. Now, you do not have to do as I've been called to do, turn on a camera and microphone, start a YouTube channel, and broadcast to a global audience. That is not necessarily going to be what you're invited and instructed and called to do. It could look very differently. And, well, the world needs this. People need this. Our brother needs you to answer the call in whatever way that looks like. Because it could be something very different. However, it's important that you answer the call and do it because there are people out there that you can reach much better than I can. I mean, they may not relate to this pixelated image at all. And you might be thinking, well, I don't either, which is cool. No problem. I mean, you're still meant to be here watching for some reason. And there are people out there that you're meant to reach. They're meant to work with you. Doesn't have to be a teacher-student relationship in the conventional format that the world recognizes. Doesn't have to be that at all. You'll be told exactly what the situation is going to look like. By whom? By our inner teacher, the Holy Spirit, who's part of our mind, part of us, not some outside power. There's often a fear in giving our entire experience over to the Holy Spirit because of this fear of ceding power and control to an outside source. Well, it is not outside you. It's not outside you. So here's what happens when we make this choice that we're talking about, which is, of course, one or the other, freedom of the body or freedom of the mind. When you choose freedom of the mind, or vice versa, what happens is the further you go, the more progress, as we would say here in the world, you make toward the end that you've elected by your own choice, your own free will choice, your own mind. As we approach that, the means, as we approach the end, the means have less value. Their value decreases and decreases and decreases until you no longer need them. Choose freedom of the mind. The body's value as the means to an end decreases and decreases until you no longer need it. This may be, in time, a long ways off. Well, this is what time is for us to continue to make this decision over and over and over again to awaken. Now, the call that you've heard and listened to from our inner teacher is universal. It is. It goes out to all of us. And there appear to be sometimes very few people on this thing called the spiritual path, or some people that profess that they are, or they say they're interested in it, but their behavior indicates quite clearly that they're not super into it at the moment, right? The call is universal. There appear to be so few people into it because although everyone hears it, few choose to listen, and fewer still listen and start acting on it. You're one of those, so welcome and thank you on behalf of every single living thing. I'm not simply thanking you for being here and contributing views to this YouTube channel and oh, subscriptions, by the way, if you haven't joined us yet, things like that. No, it's gratitude for your dedication and commitment to your spiritual practice, which is the highest, best form of offering you can make to anyone, anywhere, anytime. Nothing, and I do mean nothing, compares to that. So thank you for that on behalf of all of us. And of course, most people won't acknowledge that at all. Doesn't matter, as you know. Who cares? Yeah. The body can be used by your own election to serve the Holy Spirit's purposes, to serve freedom of the mind, healing of the mind, to serve awakening, enlightenment, to serve love, truth. It's your choice. So it does, in fact, come down to this one choice in the present moment, freedom of the body or freedom of the mind, the ego or God, dark or light, illusion or truth, nothingness or everything, the all, capital A. There are many ways to put this in words. Those are just a few of them. That's the choice, and it's of great importance, and we make it all of the time. And we're invited to come back to the present moment to make the choice yet again, every time we remember to do it. And how will we remember to do it? Well, we get carried away a lot in life. We find ourselves just flowing down the tide of life, involved in this, that, and the other, one thing or another, busying ourselves in a whirlwind of activity that exhausts us completely. And we all know the drill. We call it doing life. And I mean, we're all on the spiritual path because we have acutely felt at more than one point this exhaustion and overwhelm, burnout, stress, and we've grasped the emptiness of it all. It is meaningless, in fact. So every time we remember to bring our minds back to the present moment, we remind ourselves of this choice and we choose love. We choose freedom of the mind. We choose the thought system of the Holy Spirit, truth, love, God, light, life. That choice. The more you do it, well, if you've been doing it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The more you do it, well, the more you recognize how powerful and profound it is, and you do not see things the same way. You don't. And when you think about it, you can't possibly. And quite naturally, the ego, this false sense of individual self, wants us to go back to the way things were. But it's not worthy of us. And, well, having embarked on this path, you cannot go back. And nor would you want to. What you can do, and we can all do this, and we've all done it, or this conversation would not appear to be taking place, we can all delay. We can delay. We can sit here in the present moment and say, no, I'm not going to make that choice. I'm just going to sit here. I'm not going back, but I'm not going forward either. I'm just going to stand here in a manner of speaking. You can do that. You can delay as long as you like. You can delay this entire lifetime if you want to. It's up to you. And pixelated image is just that, a pixelated image. It's not going to stop you from delaying the remainder of your life if you so choose. But it will be excruciating because, well, nothing's worse than the excruciating pain of not taking that first step or that next step. That kind of stasis is, well, irksome. It is really difficult. And it's only the first few steps, by the way, that seem so scary and difficult. Doesn't mean that really, really intense experiences won't arise further down the line, and they may very well. I mean, they may really very well arise. What we do have to understand is that the ego will resort to viciousness in an effort to win us back. But you'll be armed with, and I say armed in a metaphorical manner, not with a pistol and a cannon or anything like that, but you will have at the ready powerful tools to keep moving through, to look past all form of error to the truth of what really is. So we have everything that we need, guidance wise, to keep going, starting with our relationship with our inner teacher, the Holy Spirit. Jesus, you may call the Holy Spirit whatever you wish to call it. In fact, the pronoun it is perfectly appropriate because the Holy Spirit's neither a man nor a woman. It's not a human being, and neither are we. And I know you know that. Remember, this is not who we are. So the Course is very direct. as you've just experienced, and very deep. And these messages can land any number of ways. I mean, perhaps it serves as a confirmation for you or a profound relief, which is entirely possible, of something that you've deep down always known. That is entirely possible. And it's entirely possible that you think, oh my God, what? What is this even saying? This makes absolutely no sense. I'm going to put this book back on the shelf and go someplace else. That is also entirely possible. So, however, the directness has landed for you in this conversation, there has been, I'm certain, at least one, perhaps many more messages for you from the Holy Spirit, which is the purpose of offering these videos, because we all need guidance and help along the path, starting with the guidance of the Holy Spirit. Now, should you have particular questions about this course or spirituality in general, that is perfectly natural, and I invite you to ask them here if you have them. Or if you wish to simply hop in the comment thread and say hello or leave a comment of some kind, I'm going to look at them. I see them and I look at these comments quite frequently. So it's a great place to ask questions. Again, if you have not yet subscribed, this prompt over here in the corner of your screen, this icon, is where you click and you'll be invited to join us. Several videos appear each week, well, because spirituality is not going anywhere. It can hardly be limited to 1 hour on a given day of the week. That wouldn't help us all that much. All right. So thank you very much for joining us, and I'll talk to you soon.